ba kardolo ba ma kasolo no ba mar koble azu akufaro mummalaya azu akufaro mummala tanda biya kapabe yente kporo kpakpia kunna ya onko chawate nya kpakpolo pormo kuna batu kuna na kanen kurbe yalba ne katala ne ben lapse kpakpia ma in lapse kpakpia la kinda agba shelma ambara so in lapse excellency John Dramani Mahama Mr. President and President of the Fourth Republic, I intend to speak on two major items. When I hear the MPP say that Bawumia is experienced, so those of you who know English well, comparison of experience. John Mahama, experienced Vice President. John Mahama, experienced President. Somebody has a less of it. Somebody has a less of it. And somebody has a combination of having been in government and will benefit from the opportunity of hindsight. And that is John Dramani Mahama. And so, when I hear the MPP say that Bawumia is leading a digital revolution, probably they don't even know how a revolution starts. To quote Alhaji Hudu Yaya, is not to make your table nice, this is a spoon, this is some cutlery, or no. The foundation of a digital Ghana was led by the NDC and led by Edward Salia and subsequently succeeded by John Dramani Mahama. Then subsequently, before you had the like of Kandapa, Haruna, Iddrisu. So if you want how digitalization started in Ghana, check your history and check the records well. It began under John Mahama when he hyped telecoms from postal. Remember, go back to history. He had to hype the postal sector from the telecom sector. That is when you people started saying, Mejina Bontina Mekasa. You remember? That was the beginning of the digital revolution. The introduction of mobile telephony into our country. So today when you hear digitalization, Dr. Bawumia, are you doing that man on smartphones? If there was no mobile telephony of MTN on the GSM platform, would there be digitalization? Somebody somewhere had to start the digital revolution. Indeed, President Mahama and the NDC, Inye Solomon, Ankugba Ho, Hanu Kulungugu, under President Mahama, there was a Norwegian funding of 28 million euro to lay fiber from Ho to Kulungugu. Go and check the records and check from the embassies. So when you say you want to be digital, you need to build infrastructure. The infrastructure, some, to be fair to them, commenced under Kufuor, but built upon John Dramani Mahama. So after infrastructure, in fact, what the NPP did right, I'll give them one credit, was legislation to pass the laws, reforms. But after reforms were the laws. Now when Bawumia says that digitalization, hear him well, I'm not sure he himself even understands digitalization. The NDC concept of digitalization and John Mahama's concept of digitalization, listen, is simply to mainstream ICT in all aspects of our national life. Full stop. That is what John Mahama is talking about when he says, I want to introduce digitalization into the public sector. So that when you commit a crime, today, people are still doing mobile theft, mobile money transfer theft. Where there is proper digitalization, it should be easy to arrest them. Because that Ghana card coincides with your what? your ID card together with your mobile number in order that anonymity is eliminated. We are not there yet. So, Dr. Bawumia, be fair and appreciate that somebody somewhere laid the foundation for a digital Ghana. In fact, the NDC lances more mobile telephony companies than any administration under his watch as Vice President and then President of the Republic. My final message, the General Secretary of the party is here. President Mahama is making one important promise to Ghanaians, that he will undertake major constitutional and administrative reforms that cures the stability of our democracy and the stability of our economy. So not just constitutional review, some will be administrative reviews. He will lead and provide leadership in providing that. Then Katina Kunadagban. Someone tap Kayana Zampawana Dwapia, Kayanuto Chafunyo, Anami Wumla. Manta Pao. It was under my colleague Honorable Iddrisu that in cabinet under President Mahama, the concept of an Eastern Corridor road was conceptualized, even under President Mills. It was conceptualized, thought through, initiated, and acted upon. That is why you have those Brazilian companies come and do the road here. Mampa dolgu shao. Ago banu Somali ka dolma. Toliya social joma man da America kungu shama. Nebun chanta nan tebo shal kunta malma leya so ma ibn yarle. Ayesu. The party mata kai is to form majority in parliament. There's one to so lawyer Jofa. Pale you are like Kaule. Yina Shamwa, da yimna la police station number. Iddrisu Mahama Zoo, lawyer Jofa Nana.
And he spoke on behalf of all people who work with metal. We've met some of your colleagues in other places, steel benders and all of them. And they've put their case before us. Who do Macheling you? And so we have captured all the concerns that they have put, and we have it on the laptop. The lady at the back there has a laptop, so she's captured all of it. I also want to thank Chief Bawumia of Bumbonaili for his very exciting contribution. He spoke about education, especially secondary and basic education, and also tertiary. There's a lot that is wrong with our secondary and basic education. They introduced a new curriculum for the basic schools about 4 years ago. And up to now, there are no textbooks for the basic schools to even use. And so that is part of the problem. Apart from that, this government has not been eliminating schools under trees. And so we continue to have a lot of schools that are in very poor condition. When NDC was there, anywhere there were schools under trees and children were not learning in very good conditions, we came and built a new classroom block for them. What we're going to do now is for any new schools that we build, we'll prioritize teacher accommodation. Because one of the reasons why teachers don't want to stay is because they don't have accommodation. Sometimes they go to a village, there's no accommodation to even rent. So he has to stay in Yendi and transport himself every day to the school. And so any new school that we build will come with enough accommodation for teachers. And the schools that exist, we're going to prioritize adding accommodation to the existing schools so that at least the head teacher and a few of the teachers can get a place to stay and be able to teach their children. The free SHS is also an issue. We want to make it better. And so I've said that in order to improve the quality of their feeding, we're going to take the feeding from the centralized national food buffer stock, and we're going to give it to the headmasters to make sure that they feed their children. So we will pay the feeding grants to the headmasters, to the schools, and the headmasters will be responsible for procuring the food for the children. We will just make sure that they follow the guidelines, because the guidelines are that you must buy food produced in Ghana. And so if it's rice, you must buy local made in Ghana rice. If it's chicken, you must buy locally processed chicken, so that our farmers too can benefit from the school feeding. With regard to tertiary education, we try to make sure that we spread it in such a way that every area has some tertiary education. It includes nursing training schools, it includes colleges of education, it includes technical universities, it includes universities, and so on and so forth. And so when we come, we'll look at the map again. We make sure that there is a tertiary institution within reach of a number of traditional areas or a number of districts. And so that's something that we'll look at, Chief. Then he also talked about empowering chiefs in order that they are able to perform their traditional functions. We have made that part of the responsibility of the district assemblies, so that they empower their local traditional chiefs to be able to carry out their responsibility. We're also going to allow chiefs to have a representative on the assembly, so that 10% appointed members of the assembly will allow the chief to have a representative amongst the appointed members on the assembly. Then the next problem is jobs. Youth unemployment is a major threat to this country. When we were in office, the total unemployment figure was 8%. Today it has doubled to 14%. So 14% of our young people come out of school and they can't find jobs. And so the next NDC government was known for infrastructure. We did a lot in infrastructure. We're going to continue infrastructure, but this time we're going to turn our attention to livelihoods and entrepreneurship, so that young people can set up their own businesses and also employ others to work for them. Because the public sector is not a sector that can absorb everybody. Because if you look at our population, we're a population of 30 million people in Ghana. The current number of people employed in the public sector, nurses, teachers, doctors, soldiers, police officers, watchmen, security people, everybody, the total number of people employed in the public service is 700,000 out of 30 million. So it means that government must work so that we create more employment in the private sector. And so that's where we're going to put a lot of investment, so that we can bring factories here to process shea butter, to process cotton, to process textiles, and a lot of other things, to process groundnut oil, to process all kinds of vegetable cooking oils, so that our young people can also get work to do. We had what we call the Youth Enterprise Support Initiative. We're going to reintroduce it. It was an initiative that was meant to teach young people how to set up their own businesses. We must not all leave school and expect that we should be employed by government or by somebody. We also can become self-employed. We can help ourselves to become better and be able to employ others. When we started the Youth Enterprise Support Initiative, 6,000 young people applied. And out of that, we selected the first phase of them, almost 1,000 of them. And what we do is, you write a feasibility study, you show the business you want to engage in. We come, we inspect the site where the business should be, and then we give you the support to do that business. Most of the time, it is equipment. We'll buy the equipment for you, and we'll give you a little capital to start. and we'll be coming to see how you are doing and advising you so that you know how to run the business. And some of those that we set up are still in good business. There was a lady who left University of Science and Technology, and she said she wanted to do aquaculture. And so we helped her with cages, and she put them on the Volta Lake. We helped her with the fingerlings. We gave her the feed, and she was producing tilapia. She had a cold van. She was supplying all the restaurants in town with tilapia. And she made a lot of money. She employed 20 people. So instead of becoming an employee, she became an employer, and she employed 20 people, created